This is the most fun you could have learning new chords. These classic tunes are a side door into jazz harmony with R&B and funk grooves. I'm Eric Haugen. Check the description box below for tabs and backing tracks on my website, information about exactly what sound tools I'm using today, all local stuff, live streams and more on Patreon, and my deep dive courses. It's all on my website. Yacht rock is really a somewhat derisive catch-all definition for the groovy soft rock of the 70s and early 80s. This stuff is pop music played by jazz fusion players, so the pocket is deep, the chords are funky, and the melodies are sublime. Let's learn some grooves. The first thing to get a grip on is the other seventh chords, the minor 7 and the major 7. So a minor 7 chord, you can always substitute that for a regular old minor chord. All it's going to do is pull the song just a little bit chiller without changing anything too much. So E minor 7. Other common form, E minor 7. They also exist over here. That's another common grab. Sure, there's this one. You're not going to use that as much because that's a little bit of an awkward grab. Now, by comparison, the major 7, like this C major 7, here's a regular C, C major 7, beautiful chord, but because of the dissonance and kind of the chord calculus of how those notes stack up inside a chord, you can't use it just anytime you have a major chord. We won't go much further than that, but here's what I'll say to do. Try and see if it sounds cool. It might sound cool or it might sound wrong. It might be too jazzy. So again, to review, the rule is this. Minor 7 chord, you can just pretty much always substitute for a regular old minor chord. Major 7 chord, maybe, maybe not. Try and listen. Now let's check out that Michael McDonald riff. One thing about yacht rock is that the heavy lifting is often done by keys. So all the guitar parts we're going to talk about today are me adapting a keyboard part or a piano part over to guitar. And that's why these things don't get talked about maybe as much. So it starts with an E minor 7, and then I grab a little bit of the bass. So just let's look at that. A rake. And then a quick passing D chord, and then a C major 7. And I did put the G in the bass there. So let's look at that from the, a whole thing. There's a quick little B there. C major 7. And then this is the tricky part. Because that's where the chords actually move very quickly from a C major 7, B minor 7, A minor 7, then a B minor 7 really over F sharp. We're going to talk more about all this stuff in a minute. So I just grab the thirds of that. And I'm grabbing part of the melody here. So that's, what he's singing. So the melody goes up to this F sharp, and I brought in a B here. That's tricky, so whole thing. Here we go. That is so fun. Now on to inversions and slash chords. Sometimes we'll see something a little bit strange on a chord chart, like all that means is, play this chord, an F chord, with an A in the bass. Not both those chords at the same time. That's a polychord. That's a different thing. That chord, that note in the bass. All it is that. Sometimes it's an inversion, like it is in this case. You know, A is inside an F chord. F, A, C. Oh, okay, that's really just an F first inversion. Sometimes it's not, though, like with this chord. And so what that is a B flat chord. So here's a B flat. Let's put a C in the bass. That's a very soft rock chord. You're going to see that throughout the 70s and the early 80s as kind of like, instead of a regular old 5-to-1 type chord, you'll hear it like that. All right, let's look at You're a Rich Girl. So we got, you know, F chord, A minor 7, and you know, you could play around with that. D minor 7, F over C. I did play around with that. Yeah, I'm pushing this one towards Neil Young. I don't know, that's just what I always do. So let's look at that again. F, A minor 7, D minor 7, F over C. You know, you could call that an inversion. You could call that F in second inversion. Same difference, really. It seems faster to say F over C. B flat, F over A, G minor 7. That's like the you know, jazz school way to do it. You could just do that too. Both are fine. And then here's that B flat over C. All right, now let's talk about extensions, not hair extensions. Sometimes you'll see a really confusing chord symbol like. So here's how it works. You have a triad, first tone, third tone, fifth tone. You know, that's a, you know, C triad. If we wanted to make it a seventh chord, we add the seventh tone from the scale. In this case, B flat. That gives us now a chord that has 4 tones, C, E, G, B flat. If you had a C9, what that would mean was, hey man, go ahead and add the 9th tone away from the root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that D. So now, if we were piano players, we could play all those tones at the same time. We have a chord that is 5 tones big. Same deal, if we want a C11, oh boy, that would mean it would have the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9, 10, 11. It would have the 11th note of the scale in there also, which again, on guitar, there's just not a way for us to conveniently grab all those. So we do end up snipping out tones. The 5th is the first one to go. Sometimes the root. If there's a bass player, we don't gotta do the root. Now you can see that's a C11. That would be the sharp 11. Cool chord, you know, let's put the root back in. And then of course, if we had a C13, that means it has actually everybody. It has the entire scale is in the chord. The root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9, the 11, and the 13th note away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that A. You know, and that's actually a James Brown chord. But again, as guitar players, we just can't get all those tones. We just can't. So we clip things out. The root, the 5th, sometimes we get rid of the 3rd. It really all depends on, again, where we are on the fretboard at any given time and where we're going next. All right, so in the case of reminiscing, here's what's going on. It's a beautiful chord progression. That's a G major 7. I think I did like a Bo Diddley variant. little melody thing. Because that's actually me just arpeggiating that C9 sharp 11. It's a cool chord, but I just thought it sounded cool to go, all right, from the G. Little melody. Because then it's crazy. It goes from a C9 sharp 11 down to a B9. Now, in the song, that would loop around again, but, you know, I truncate things just to make it fun for a YouTube video. The little melody thing again. And then a B flat. Here's a B flat chord. Here's first inversion, second inversion, or that. Again, these are caged things. I have courses on caged. I have videos on caged. What I like to say is, yeah, you're probably never going to do this, but yeah, you might end up using this piece of the form. What's that melody go? So, okay, one more time. It's going from a G major 7, B flat, and then right there's actually a D. And here comes another slash chord. Hey man, play a G with a D in the bass. But I just grabbed. I think because I'm hanging on that note, I skipped the first one. And one other thing I wanted to say you encounter a C9 sharp 11, you can just not play the sharp 11. Heck, you could not play the 9. You can not even play the 7. You can always remove the confusing bits and just get back to the triad if you're not sure. It's not maybe, you know, the coolest thing you can do, but it's better than playing the wrong thing. I hope this video was interesting and helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share. That costs you nothing, and that helps me out a lot when you do that. One more time, how my business works. Patreon is where there's every backing track I've ever made, live Q&A, seminars, and more. I update that every week, and I make comprehensive deep dive courses. You can check it all out on my website. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. Happy Friday. Eat pizza.
I'd love to see what Donald Fagen says about Yacht Rock Radio.
Hello, Mr. Fagan.
Yeah, this is P.
Yeah, hi. This is Garrett. I'm the one making this Yacht Rock documentary. Yeah, so I've been talking to a lot of people that have played with you and Stevie Banner over the years, and I was wondering if you'd sit down with me and talk about your music and this genre.
And what genre is that?
Yacht Rock.
Oh, Yacht Rock. Well, I tell you what. Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Donald Fagan hung up on me.